Hello, I'm Clarise Starling, and you're my severance package, and we're slowly catching up once again. This time it's November and December 2019 in one video. It's quite a down-to-business video, this one. And funnily enough, I only got one record in November, and I didn't even buy it myself. This is Scott Walker, SUNN, Soused. My local recording studio was doing a memorial Scott Walker day, and me and my engineer were doing live sound and lighting for that event. And so as a thank you for doing the event, I got this record signed by Pete Walsh, the producer of the album. So this is definitely one to keep hold of. Continuing the trend from all of November of not buying any actual music, I didn't get any music until after Christmas in December. But at Christmas, my lovely editor did get me two music-related things which I thought were of interest. The first one being the Sick Bag song by Nick Cave. I hadn't actually got any Nick Cave albums at this point. I was really interested in him as a person and his involvement in the history of punk and all of this. But this is a really lovely edition, encased hardback of all of his poems that were written on sick bags in planes. So it's really transient and sort of illusory. Secondly was the Nick Drake To Be Remembered for a While book. If you know me at all, you'll know that Nick Drake is really close to my heart, both musically and as an artist. And this is the John Murray hardback compendium of his life. It's got all of his lyrics and all of the poems and lots of people writing about it. And it was overseen by Gabrielle Drake, who sort of runs his estate, or has been for all the time since he's died. And it's a really lovely, beautiful, heartfelt book. So after Christmas, I did decide to actually go out and buy some music. Seeing as I was already at my parents' house, I thought I'd go to the Music and Video Exchange mentioned 2 videos ago and pick up some albums. The first one being FIDLAR's Self-Titled. So some context behind this. When I was 15, I was in a garage punk, surf punk kind of band, and half of the band was obsessed with this album, but it completely passed me by. I was more on the sort of Waves train, so I didn't see the FIDLAR light until years later. So I thought, for context's sake, and to finally catch up on what I was missing, I'd pick this up, and it was a £5. Why wouldn't I? Secondly, I got Sunny Day Real Estate's Diary. It's one of my favourite math rock albums of all time, and my bass is the Nate Mendel's signature bass. So I've got his signature right there, and he was the bass player on this album. So I thought, it's destiny, I've got to pick it up. And alongside that, I got Husker's New Day Rising. This is the follow-up to one of my favourite hardcore albums of all time, but this is a much more alternative-leaning album. And lastly, picked up Volume Alpha of Minecraft Music by C48 on lovely transparent green vinyl. It's one of my favourite ambient albums of all time. Ruined a bit by the memes, but you can still appreciate the music for what it is. So having shopped for second-hand records, what was the one thing I should go and do now is buy first-hand records. So I took a trip out to central London to take a look at the stores, and first thing I got was Merzbow Pulse Demon. Literally an hour and a half's worth of constant headache-inducing static feedback noise wails and other such lovely sounds. Lots of people consider this the entryway into noise music, and that's exactly sort of how I would pitch it to you. If you want to get into the harshest, dirtiest, grittiest, most violent music you can think of, take this for a spin. But with that, I got some tasteful music as well. I decided I'm going to get into the Beastie Boys for some reason. They had License to Ill on sale, so I thought I'd, pick that up, go from the start, because all I'd listened to was Hello Nasty. Love that album, so I thought I'd, educate myself a bit more on that. So another personal classic I picked up was the Pixies' Bossanova. This wasn't one of my favourite Pixies albums until I gave it a real good listening to in sort of October, November time. Loads of surf influence, loads of really great melodies, loads of great guitar work. So I thought this was definitely one I should have on vinyl. And last but not least, I picked up Skeleton Tree. Now that I had homework to go and listen to Nick Cave, I thought I'd start with the one I'd heard the most about, the Dead Sun album. Really well produced album, and as everybody on this helpful sticker says, it's an absolute classic already, and it's only been out a couple years. Thanks for watching, guys. I've been Clarise Starling, and if any of these albums look interesting to you, there's a Spotify playlist with one song from each of these albums. Go give it a listen, find a song you want, find an album you want, buy a record maybe. Make sure you click subscribe and like.